But it is always my pleasure. You know, I talk about how wonderful my experience has been moving to Nashville. And I mean this sincerely. And I'm not trying to get verklempt or sentimental or soppy here. But one of really high on the list is being able to meet David Corlew and tell people that I am in some way associated with the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. And one of the reasons I love David is because the first thing I'm going to tell on him. The first thing he said to me is, man, I feel bad. I'm in here and all this other stuff's going on. You got so much to talk about. And I said to you, and I'll say it again publicly, there's nothing more important than talking about the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project and honoring our veterans and helping them when they get back into the United States. Thank you for everything you do. Good afternoon, sir. Hey, hold on. All that build up. Are you going to help me out? No, he's not going to help me. Hey, David.
Good afternoon to both of you, Belle, everybody here. You guys have been so supportive of the Journey Home Project. You guys have always been there. It's a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood, and we have a journey here to be on and to continue. And I guess when I apologize, it's such a big news day. The young lady that passed away, that was shot, all that's going on. But I think the reason why I am here is because veterans are 10th page news right now. We don't consider a war going on. We think there's wars going on but there's somebody right now in the sand looking for bad guys. Or standing post somewhere, or doing work in an office, but they're all serving us, and they signed on the dotted line, and that's my journey.
Well, and I bring that up not to that's just the level of humility that you bring to this service is astounding, and I applaud it, and I thank you for it, because you and Charlie, I learned this early on when you told me about how all of this came about. It's a genuine love of the United States of America and a recognition, as you've said so many times, and Charlie said it, that, there's a reason that we get to do this every day. There's a reason that you and I get to talk on the radio, 100,000 watts to thousands and thousands of people. And it's the men and the women that put on the uniform and protect us.
And there's been a big price that's been paid for that freedom. And I think we continue as a society to forget that or put that on the back shelf. It's the most important thing that I do every day besides taking care of my family, my worship, my spirituality, is that I'm going to get up every day and figure out what I can do to help vets. And I can't do that without the support and the brotherhood that I have with you guys, as well as a lot of the other people that help Journey Home Project and are part of it.
I'm always not torn, but I have mixed emotions about Veterans Day. I mean, Memorial Day is obviously what it is. It is to honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice in service to their country. Veterans Day is it's a combination. We remember those who lost all. We remember those who sacrificed so much. We think about those who go through daily life struggles as a result of their service, but also it's a celebration of the men and women that keep us free. Do you look at it that way too?
I do, and I'm glad you brought that up. Being the person I am and doing what I do, I have a Title 38 U.S. code that comes with the government. I actually saw this. There's a Green Beret, former Green Beret, Herb Thompson, who is kind of a rock star in the military community, and he posted this. Veterans Day is next weekend, which he posted this last week, whether they served 2 years or 30 years, if they were a clerk or a special operator, whether they saw combat or not, if they were a pilot or a logistic tician, whether they went overseas or remained stateside, all served and all gave some. So if you left home to Fort Dix, New York, and served your whole time there, you were gone from your family, your life changed while you weren't there, your family had challenges, and you made that sacrifice to be away from the people that you love and love you. And you signed on the dotted line, which is signing a check that's payable up to your life.
You know, I occasionally tell this story, and I don't know if I've shared it with you, David, but I'll make it as succinct as possible for those who've heard it before. I had an opportunity just through work to go to D.C. annually for about 10, 11 years. And my wife, her grandfather, Lieutenant Colonel George Holy, served in the Navy and then for 2 years. And then when the Air Force was created, 1947, he went over to service in the Air Force and served for 29 years there. He's interred at Arlington National Cemetery. So we've had opportunity to go back on several occasions, took his wife to see his place of interment in the columbarium, and then we've gone back multiple times since then after the passing of his wife when she was interred. All that to say, Erica couldn't go with me 1 year. And, you know, if you're not engaged in an actual service, you're walking in, right, unless you have a disability. And so I got off of the metro and I walked in because Erica asked me to take some photos of George's resting place. And I walk, and you know how huge it is. For those that have never been, it is such a juxtaposition of beauty and sacrifice. And you'll never find a more emotional place in my view.
Agree.
And I walked and I saw this woman way off in the distance as I was walking, because, you know, these blocks are just enormous in the graves and the symmetrical geometric patterns. And I saw her in the middle of one of the blocks of grave after grave after grave. And she's sitting there in the middle. And she's on a blanket. She looks to be, you know, once I got closer, I recognized that she was probably, I don't know, 30. And I recognized that she was the wife of a serviceman that had lost his life. And I walked on. I left her be. I walked to the columbarium, which was some ways away. I spent a little time there. I come back maybe an hour and a half later, David. And there she is. And I realized, and it gets me broken up every time, that I get to walk back to my family and I get to walk away from the pain that she faces every moment of her life. And it's a sacrifice that we need to talk about more, and that's the family that sacrifices when those men and women in service do give the ultimate to their country.
I was just there. I was there last weekend, and every time I go, I went with one of my really good buddies, Joel Pruitt, who's a former Green Beret special operator. 20 plus years, went up there, met a former commander here at Campbell. But we go over to Arlington, and there it is. It's the most emotional place for anybody, as you said, that goes there. But we go visit Jason Brown, who was a staff sergeant who lost his life in 2008. But we went to visit some graves, some sites, but everywhere you turn, you see a brother, a sister, a family, a wife. I went up there during Memorial Weekend with the Gold Star organization. Went up there and saw women that literally have blankets where they lay down beside the grave site. So it's very moving. Those have passed. Those that have gone on, we honor them on Memorial Weekend. But it's my journey today and is going to be for a while is to bring attention to those who not necessarily went to combat but did sign on that dotted line. Because every time I run into a lot of these guys and they go, "Oh, well, I didn't do anything. I didn't think." I go, No. You signed that contract, same contract the operators signed and the SEALs signed and everybody when they began their journey. They just decided to train more, stay in longer. But I want to encourage everyone out in audience, your audience, and all over that if you served, if you signed on that dotted line and you have an honorable discharge, you need to hold your head up high. None of those teams can operate without the team.
It never, until just this moment, it never occurred to me what you're saying, that for those who, call it what you will, just were lucky enough or blessed enough, or it just so happened that there was not active duty service or overseas service at the time that they were in, that they feel somehow lesser than?
Yeah. They have that, and my buddy this morning told me, and again, he was a 20-year operator, and he looks them in the face and he goes, "Hold your head up and be proud of what you did for us, because we could not have done our job without you. So if you did it, then own it. If you signed on the dotted line and you served, own it, be proud of it. We cannot do these overseas missions and stuff without you."
Are we seeing, obviously in the aftermath of the combat actions that we've seen over the last 20, 25 years, we see a lot of service members that are home with visible scars of war, loss of limb, or other types of things that you can see. More than that, there are the unseen wounds. We talk about PTSD a lot. Do you encounter that as much as we have in the past 5 or 10? I mean, is that still an ongoing issue? Is it the most pressing ongoing issue?
Well, we see I said the other day, the loss of limb thing has become so common that we've got guys that are operating now that are out on the front lines still fighting with one leg or a loss of an arm because they've been able to go back and requalify. So not to make that anything less than what it is as tragic as to lose a limb. But our issue is it's great for those that come back and do it to face a friend, a family member, then say, "I've got a problem, I need help." But we call that the 1,000-pound phone. That's the issue of these guys that have buried this stuff, and they continue to live in a civilized world and try to live a civilian life. And it's one of our focuses now is helping that transition from being someone special. I mean, you're someone special when you're in the military and you serve that time, and then one day you get out and you're on the street and you're just a regular guy, and that's hard.
I never thought of this way either, but hearing you talk, it occurs to me that it's almost like some of these, and some people come back and they reintegrate and they do well, and God bless them and thank you. But for some, it's so much more difficult, and it's like they're teetering on a cliff, and they're hanging on. They're not falling over, but if they do fall because of a lack of willingness to pick up the phone or a lack of observation from those loved ones around them, when they fall, that's what creates our veteran homeless problems. That's what creates the addiction issues that we face. And if we can catch them before they fall, I feel like it's so much easier, not easier, but it's such less of a painful experience maybe for them, I don't want to presume, to get them the help that they need. And that's why it's the 1,000-pound phone, right? If they would just pick that phone up, or if someone would reach out to them prior to hitting rock bottom, it's so much of an easier situation, it would seem.
Well, it goes against everything that they've been trained.
Right.
Surrender is not in their vocabulary. So to surrender to what some call a disease, addiction, to surrender to show weakness, they don't do that. It's the hardest thing to do is to say, "I need help." And so that's why the buddy system, and we encourage everybody, please call somebody, pick up the phone, talk to somebody. It's the basis of all rehabilitation, whether it's addiction, whether it's you lose a loved one. You got to talk about it. You got to get this stuff out, and this is stuff that's buried. Sometimes we've got some programs where we work on long-term guys, especially the Vietnam veterans, and these guys had to bury it, and it's been buried for 20, 30 years. So it's a challenge. So everybody, again, I'm just going around waving the flag saying, man, if you got a veteran friend, check on them.
Thank them. Ask them how they're doing.
Thank them. And thank their families.
That's right.
Thank a veteran and their families.
Steve wants to join in on the conversation out of Gallatin. Steve, you're on with David Corlew and Matt Murphy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you guys for having this discussion. Again, multifaceted. We do talk about the people who are in the spotlight, the people behind the scenes. Just like a diamond has multi-facets, some facets catch the light, some facets display the light, some facets are just holding underneath on the mount of the diamond and the jewelry. Sorry I'm taking that so long to explain it, but my brother is a Desert Storm veteran. He was only in for 4 years. It took him forever to get the diagnosis for Gulf War syndrome, but the hardest part before that happened, it took him a long time to update his DD-214 because it just said Asian Theater Service. It didn't have specificity for the Gulf War. And partly was, I guess it was 15 more long years ago, it took John McCain getting involved in his office and his people to get his stuff process paperwork. And he was a great veteran, obviously an advocate for veterans. But my question, I guess, is, in all these facets and all of these underlying currents that happen, who are the best people locally and maybe in the regionally that are helping just get people the correct specificity on their designations on their DD-214 so they're eligible for these benefits, so they can correlate maybe symptoms or correlate the fact that they were there to get the treatment that they need, or just to get the correct acknowledgement that helps put them in the right path to give the veteran assistance that they need.
Is it Steve?
Yeah, Steve.
Steve, you have called the right guy. At MTSU on campus is the Charlie and Hazel Daniels Veterans and Family Community Center. And it is the most comprehensive veterans center. It's 6,000 square feet. That's what they do. They specialize in evaluating your benefits, your DD-214. A lot of people have not been given the correct disability rating that they deserve and that they need. You can reach out to that. Go online. It's the Charlie and Hazel Daniels Center. We do everything there, from helping with the stuff with your brother up to, we have an employment agency. We have a direct teleconference center to the VA in DC. So we get a face. We don't get a recorded verse. So that's where it's open to the families. It's open to your brother. They'll go up, and not only that, if he needs help with a resume, anything, we're there. And if not, call me.
I did not hang up on you, Steve. We lost your signal, but I hope you caught all of that. If you did not, call back and we'll catch up offline. Obviously, the Charlie Daniels JourneyHomeProject.org is the best way to get a hold of you guys. What's your final message to the veterans and all others listening right now?
My message, first off, is we're working on our website. We, like everybody else, from time to time. If you have any problem, write me at david@thejourneyhomeproject.org. Write me personally, and I will put you in the right direction. But I ask that you donate. If you can't donate, I ask that you pray. I ask that you reach out.
That's wonderful.
Period.
That's exactly right. And I just thank you, as I always do. And I remind you, as I always do, that I don't like you as much as I like Tuffy. So I'm just, it's a reality.
Well, Tuffy's getting used to this place now. He kind of likes it here.
We like him being here. He's our little mascot. Thank you, David.
Thank you, brother.
There's David Corlew with the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. Back in a moment.